All right, Carl, thanks. We do have that frost advisory in effect until 8 o'clock this morning. We have 37 degrees here at the Breeze in Plymouth as we say good morning and welcome into the first word on the Packers to Davey Miller. Davey, good morning.
Hey, good morning to you, Dave.
It is the day after the Packers hung on to beat the Baltimore Ravens yesterday on the road, 19-17. And I guess anytime you can win on the road in the NFL, it's you'll take it. A win is a win on the road, and it was kind of a hard-fought football game yesterday. Baltimore rallied in the second half, but the Packers were able to hang on and win it.
Well, I'll tell you what. How the season's gone thus far just kind of culminated yesterday in actually two areas of the football game. During the off-season, Mike McCarthy and General Manager Ted Thompson started out with two goals in mind: become a more physical running football team and to be a more punishing, bigger, stronger physical football team overall. We've seen that accomplished week one against San Francisco when they went head-to-head and matched the Niners physically. Same with Detroit, same with the Bengals. Yesterday, they even overmatched the Ravens. This Green Bay Packer defense are street fighters. Their front five defensive linemen, 6 yesterday because C.J. Wilson was activated. They just punch you. When you have B.J. Raji, Johnny Jolly, and Ryan Pickett weighing a half a ton combined, and they are immovable inside, they're probably, after this game, the number one rushing defense in all of football. On the other side of the ball, Eddie Lacy ran 10 times in the last two drives yesterday, averaging 4.4 yards a carry to close the game out. The Packers closed the game out, Dave, in a way they haven't in years, and that is by running the football and running the clock out, using 7.5 minutes on the aforementioned drive.
Well, I guess that's the good news. The bad news is the Packers have scored 9 field goals and only 2 touchdowns in the last 2 weeks, and if the Baltimore coach doesn't go brain dead, they win the game yesterday by kicking a field goal. It would have been an extra point. Instead, they went for it for whatever reason, and then to try and make a play at the end of the second half, deep in their own end, cost them another field goal. So, man, if you're a Baltimore fan this morning, John Harbaugh had maybe his worst game as the coach of the Ravens.
Yeah, and I think the Green Bay Packer defense had a lot to do with that. That defense is
a lot to do with not kicking a field goal when they were on the 1 yard line. That didn't make any sense.
And the Packers had a goal line stop, and you're taking away from them saying, "Hey, why didn't Baltimore kick?" Instead of saying, "Man, the Packers had a goal line defense that was the defensive stand of the season."
Well, even more reason for Baltimore to kick the field goal. They weren't able to move the ball very well on Green Bay at all. Harbaugh was a moron yesterday.
Well, Mike McCarthy's been a moron too, and he's won. So I'm not taking I'm not taking anything away from this Packer win. This was the best win of the season. They out-physicaled a very physical football team. It was an ugly win on the road. It was a win. It was a game, Dave, like the black and blue division of the '60s.
Oh yeah, great defense. Now
I like that kind of football.
And as far as the Packer offense goes, they're going to have to find a way to rally. I know they're running the ball well, but 9 field goals aren't going to get it done, and we'll see where that heads in the next couple of weeks. They've got to get some guys healthy in the wide receiver spot.
Well, they certainly do, and until then, look at the depth that the Packers had. I told you the other week that 1 through 53, other than backup quarterback, the Packers are as talented as any team in the league. Clay Matthews goes out. Well, enter Mike Neal and Nick Perry. Casey Haywood goes out. Enter Micah Hyde. It's just James Starks goes out. Enter Franklin. Franklin goes out. Enter Lacy. It's just a good, deep football team that is only going to get better. Hopefully the injuries aren't as bad as we think they might be with Randall Cobb. It seems like James Jones is going to be okay, but no official word on either yet. But Dave, that was a very physical football game, and it was an ugly win, a difficult win on the road against the Super Bowl champions. Instead of saying, why didn't Harbaugh kick field goals, I'm going to say the Green Bay Packers earned this one the old-fashioned way. They kicked some butt.
Game above 500, that's about where they should be. We'll we'll leave it there. The Packers come home. They have go in the easy part of their schedule here now. They've got Cleveland coming up. They've got the Giants coming up. They've got Minnesota coming up. The Packers will need to make some hay here while they can against a little bit of a weaker schedule these next few weeks.
Yeah, every one of those teams. Other than the Browns, but certainly the Vikings and the Giants are struggling. But Cleveland, that's going to be a tough out. I followed them all year, had a little rotation there quarterback, but they got there's another tough, solid defense coming at the Packers next week. Offensively, they're not as much of a challenge, but on the defensive side of the ball, Cleveland's got a very tough defense.
All right, that's the first word on the Packers. They win yesterday in Baltimore. 19-17 was the final.